You can slow aging, but you won't do it with cosmetics.
We're at a point where it's beginning to look very much as if many aspects of the aging process can indeed be slowed and prevented. It depends what you think the aging process is, because it affects us in so many different ways. If you think of aging as the accumulation of atheroma in your arteries, the thinning of bone and cartilage, the gradual loss of brain cells, gradual loss of immune function, I think it's quite clear now that those symptoms of the aging process are not intrinsic, they're rather superficial manifestations of actually an appalling diet and bad lifestyle. Get the right nutritional components in place, and those things don't actually have to occur as you get older. So you can strip away those aspects of the aging process. There are socio-cultural and nutritional artifacts, if you will. They're not intrinsic. That's the easy part. Mitochondrial senescence. Well, we now know how to trigger mitochondrial neogenesis. These are the energy power plants of the cells. Reproducing those and telling them to multiply and regenerate themselves, actually, well, you can do that with physical exercise. Then telomere length. That's considered to be a very profound component of aging. We lose telomeres, these are the tags on the end of your shoelaces, the DNA, which we lose over time, and when you've lost enough of them, the cell can no longer divide, and this is the Hayflick limit. So there are studies now coming through which show that if you are consuming higher levels of anti-inflammatory components, such as green tea extract, which contains polyphenols, flavonoids if you will, or omega-3 fatty acids, it looks as if the rate of loss of telomeres is reduced. Even more interestingly, it looks as if the numbers of telomeres, at least in some cell populations, where you can easily measure them, such as your white blood cells, start to increase. So this is all very new and interesting, and does that mean that an anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle and internal environment can slow the aging process? Well, I think in almost every respect that matters, yes.
Well, why the emphasis from Dr. Clayton on an anti-inflammatory diet? Because what is known as chronic subclinical inflammation is now seen as the underlying cause of both aging and indeed age-related diseases. And that's confirmed by Scientific American, which says that inflammation is an underlying contributor to virtually every chronic disease, rheumatoid arthritis, Crohn's disease, diabetes and depression, along with the major killers such as heart disease and stroke. And the connection between inflammation and cancer is now center stage. And here's what Skin Inc., which is a research publication for the cosmetic industry, says. Underlying inflammation ultimately exhausts the body's defense system, dismantling key youth-sustaining skin structures and resulting in collagen and elastin degradation. In other words, inflammation is central to the aging process. Dr. Paul Clayton himself says, if chronic inflammation is allowed to run unchecked, tissues become dysfunctional and then fail, which is essentially a definition of aging. He goes on to say, and if you're about 50 and over, you will have accumulated damage from this type of inflammation. Inflammation, this insidious subclinical, which means not noticeable, inflammation, if it is not reduced, can lead to heart disease, stroke, cancer, dementia, diabetes, sexual dysfunction, osteoporosis, and skin aging. In other words, skin aging is merely a symptom of what's going on internally. So to counter aging, and indeed to counter the long-term illnesses that are associated with aging, you need a diet with foods that are high in anti-inflammatory nutrients, which is why Dr. Clayton has produced a book called Health Defense, which is very emphasizing the role of anti-inflammatory foods and indeed anti-inflammatory cooking methods in countering the aging process. He has also designed a supplement which combines rich levels of vitamins and minerals, essentially to the level of a vegetarian type of diet, with anti-inflammatory and indeed anti antioxidant nutrients. These are anti-aging nutrients. These include flavonoids from green tea, grapeseed extract, and curcumin. These are high anti-inflammatory nutrients. It adds soy isoflavones. It adds omega-3, itself a very powerful anti-inflammatory nutrient, and carotenoids like lutein and lycopene with other health benefits and more. So an anti-aging regime has to start on the inside, not on the outside. We invite you to go to NutriShield.com to see the details.